Hello. In this video, we are going to discuss history of complex numbers in short. So we are going to talk about how these numbers were first observed in literature and how the numbers evolve through time. So in any mathematical course, usually complex numbers are introduced as solution of some quadratic equation. For example, if we consider x squared plus 1 equals to 0, we write from here x equals to square root of minus 1. This is denoted by a symbol I, and using this symbol I, the complex numbers in general are introduced and their properties are studied. But these numbers were not obtained while solving quadratic equations. In fact, in the history, these numbers were first discussed while discussing a solution to a cubic equation. This was due to the fact that in ancient time, the quadratic equations were studied as a solution of some geometric problem, and having imaginary solution does not satisfy any geometric problem. While for cubic equations, it was known that it will always have at least one solution. So cubic equations could not be discarded by saying that there is no solution. We are going to go through how the complex numbers were observed while solving a cubic equation. Before that, let us just recall volume of frustum of a pyramid is given by V is equals to 1 by 3h a square plus ab plus b square, where ab are sides of the pyramid and h is the height. This formula was first obtained by ancient Egyptians, and there it was observed that the sides a and b of the pyramid can be observed directly. That means you can take a tape and measure what the values of a and b, but the height h cannot be observed directly. For example, if you have a solid pyramid, you can obtain height using some geometrical properties, but you cannot observe height h directly. So it was thought that if we can obtain h in terms of a b and the slant height of the pyramid, then this formula will be easier to use. And that formula again was obtained by Egyptians. There is a quite an interesting story behind that as well. So there were two brothers named Muhammad Abdul Rasul and Ahmad Abdul Rasul. They were tomb raiders from Egypt, so they used to steal relics from the burial grounds and they used to sell it to make their living. In one of the burial ground near Deir al-Bahari in Egypt, they obtained a text containing all these formulas, and the text was sold to Russian scholar V.S. Golenshev, and he submitted it to Russian Arts Museum located in Moscow, where the papers were translated, and these are now called Moscow Mathematical Papyrus. In one of the problems from these papers, a formula of H in terms of C, A, B, and C, A, and B was written, and this was due to Heron of Alexandria in 75 AD. Once we have this formula of H, we can compute the volume. Uh, as you see, this formula involves square root, and if the quantity is inside square root becomes negative, we could expect H to be an imaginary number. So for example, if you take A equals to 28, B equals to 4, C equals to 15, you'll obtain H equals to 81 minus 144. In his text, Aaron, he wrote this number as 63 instead of square root of minus 63. If you solve 81 minus 144, you're going to get minus 63, but in his text, it was found that this number is written as square root of 63. So this could have been merely a typographical error, or perhaps Aaron was trying to fudge his result to get something meaningful. Irrespective of the case, he missed a chance to being the first one to observe uh, imaginary numbers, or rather square root of negative numbers. After him, several great mathematicians of those times, they discarded possibility of square root of negative numbers. For example, Bhaskaracharya, and almost at the same time Diophantus concluded this thing: square of a positive number and of a negative number is positive, and the square root of positive number is twofold, positive negative. There is no square root of a negative number, for a negative number is not square. So they simply discarded the possibility of a square root of negative numbers. Uh, the same is written by Mahaviracharya in 850 AD. In nature, negative is not a square quantity. So throughout these times, it was strongly believed that square root of negative numbers are not defined. Those things do not exist in nature. Girolamo Cardano was the first one to write about something called imaginary numbers or a square root of negative numbers, but he wrote them, these numbers are as subtle as it is useless. So he observed that in his calculations he is getting these type of numbers, but he simply said that these numbers are completely useless. So what happened was, he was trying to solve a cubic equation of this form. This equation is called depressed cubic. So in a general cubic equation, you have a second degree term as well. So if you get rid of second degree term, that equation is called depressed cubic. And in his book, he wrote a formula to find a solution of depressed cubic, and that formula is given here. So here as well, as you see, if this quantity is negative, then you are going to get square root of negative number. So he was the one who observed it but discarded it. Now, there is again a story behind finding a solution to depressed cubic equations, y cube equals to py plus q. So Cardano was not the first one to find out solution of these depressed cubics. It was in fact again another Italian mathematician named Del Ferro. So he knew how to solve a solution of depressed cubic, but again he did not publish it. The reason was, in that time, publishing your result was not considered a great value, because in that time mathematician used to make their living by challenging each other and getting money from the prize, getting prize money in a competition. So they used to challenge each other with set of problems. Of course they should be knowing the solution of those problems. If the other person is able to solve those problems, similarly the other person is going to give you set of problems, then whoever solves most of the problems is the winner. So they used to make their living by this. That is why whenever someone gets a solution to some known major mathematical problem, they used to keep it a secret, because this is what they gave them bread as well as glory. So Del Ferro was the first one who obtained solution to depressed cubic, that is a cubic of the form y cube equals to py uh, plus q, and he almost took its solution to his grave. He did not discuss this solution with many people. uh, he had one of his student whom he told about the solution. Name was Antonio Fior. So before dying, he discussed, or he told him the procedure to solve depressed cubic. Uh, about the same time, after his death, Nicola Fontana, he was again an Italian mathematician. He was more known by his nickname Tartaglia. He obtained solution to cubics which are of the form y cube equals to p y square plus q. Antonio Fior thought that Fontana does not have solution to this equation and he was just bluffing. So he invited Tartaglia for a duel. Uh, Tartaglia then by that time has heard that Del Ferro has obtained a solution to depressed cubic, and he thought because of Del Ferro, Antonio Fior might be knowing solution about of depressed cubic as well. So just before the duel, he was able to actually work out the solution that has been obtained by Del Ferro. So in that duel, he defeated Antonio Fior comprehensively. Even in that competition, there were total 30 questions. Tartaglia solved all the 30 questions that were given to him by Fior, but Fior could not solve even one of the problems of Fontana. So Nicola Fontana, he had solution to both of these cubic, y cube equals to py plus q, as well as y cube equals to py square plus q. Cardano heard that Tartaglia has a solution to these problems. He approached him, he wrote him various letters to discuss the solution because he wanted to write these solutions in his book. And he told Tartaglia that he's going to give him all the credit for those formula. He just want to write those formulas in book, but Tartaglia refused this. But Cardano was relentless, and uh, in the end, Tartaglia did not give him the proof of those formula, but he gave him those formulas to publish. But Tartaglia also gave Cardano a oath of secrecy that he is not going to reveal the secrets behind these formulas. Cardano later on learned that the method that Tartaglia has used to solve depressed cubic has been uh, has been discussed by Del Ferro as well. So due to this, he thought his oath of secrecy does not have any meaning because the solution was not due to Tartaglia, and then he finally wrote the solution of depressed cubic in his book. He further used the solution of depressed cubic to write down solution of any general cubic as well. So that was purely work of Cardano. He did not take this solution from anyone else. Again, as soon as he published its solution, Tartaglia was very upset. He almost publicly abused Cardano. He invited him for a duel as well, but Cardano had become a very good mathematician at that time. He just ignored these things and moved on. Guillermo Cardano is also famous for some basic results in probability theory as well. So he has worked in those areas as well. So we have seen that Cardano was the first one to observe a square root of negative numbers, but he simply discarded it. One of his students, named Bombelli, he was the first one to take a square root of negative numbers seriously. So if he considered this depressed cubic, x cube equals to 15x plus 4. So you substitute the values of p and q in the formula that we had seen in the previous slides. This is what you're going to obtain. Now from here, it seems impossible to think of x being a real number. Bombelli had a hunch that this number cube root of 2 plus 11 square root of minus 1, this will be a number of the form 2 plus b square root of minus 1, and this will be a number of the form 2 minus b square root of minus 1. Later on, with the help of certain manipulations, he was able to prove that b equals to 1. So what he did was he wrote this number as 2 plus square root of minus 1, this number as 2 minus square root of minus 1. Square root of minus 1 gets cancelled and you get x equals to 4. And from here you see that when you plug x equals to 4, that satisfies this depressed cubic. So here you observed something interesting. Although the intermediate steps involve square root of negative 1, but overall result become real number. So this is a screenshot of Bombelli. As you see, This here is square root of minus 121. So this is 0. M denotes minus, and then you have 1 to 1. So this is the square root of 0 minus 1 to 1. That is the square root of minus 121. So you see that he had written actually the square root of a negative number. So he was the first one to use these type of calculations. Of course, the notation iota was not there. Notation I was not there at that time. That was given by Euler. So the usual operations through I, Bombelli was the first one to use those operations. Then after him, several mathematicians worked on these complex numbers and developed all the theory that we are going to see in this course. So some of those mathematicians were Wallis, Descartes, Euler, Leibniz, De Moivre, Cauchy, Riemann, etc. You are going to hear some of these names repeatedly in this course. The term imaginary number was coined by Descartes. He was the one who first used this term, and this has been being used till this is being used till now as well. And notation I for square root of minus 1 was used by Euler. Okay, so I'll stop with this. Thank you for watching.